All right, everybody, the time is here. The Gundam Beta Kit events are happening in stores this weekend, and I thought I'd do a little video kind of going through what you can expect to have to do to succeed at these events. You're going to get one of these. That's right. This is the beautiful Gundam Beta Kit. Look at that. It's such a shiny little nice side profile of the RX-78 on that. What we're going to talk about here is basically my opinion on how you're going to build your deck, what you're going to want to look for when you're building your deck, and then how you're going to want to play that stuff out. So that's kind of what we're going to go through today. The color combination that you're going to want to look for the most is blue and green. I think those two together are the strongest combination in the game. We'll get into why that is later, but right off the bat, unless you have a lot of very good consistency in white, I think it's going to be harder to make that work. So just as a precursor to everything, I think generally most people are going to find success with blue and green. That's based on my experience playing the game, and then that is also based on just the cards we have access to in the beta card kit pool. I've done color breakdowns on blue and white so far. You can go check those out on the channel. By the way, subscribe if you haven't already. And then green is coming early next week. More than anything, you need to know how to build a deck. And the nice thing is, if we go over to the Gundam website, they actually include a guide of how they think you should build your 50-card deck. And I think it's pretty good. 25 to 28 unit cards. Remember, your units, your mobile suits, are going to be the workhorses of your deck. These are cards that you're going to want to be able to play every single turn because you need stuff out there to combat your opponent's side of the board, and you're going to need something to attack your opponent's shields, which is kind of important because eliminating shields is how you win the game. So you want to have mobile suits out there. You want to be able to draw into that stuff all the time. You want to be able to have a good amount in your starting hand. So I do say at least half of your deck should be unit cards, mobile suits, right? 6 to 8 pilot cards, 4 to 6 base cards. I run 6 in my deck that I consider to be the best deck I could have built with my beta kit, and that's been fine. I haven't ever felt... I think I had like one game where I got really unlucky and drew like 4 of my bases, right? And so that's bad, obviously. But I do think you're pretty safe with 6 bases, and I think you want to see bases frequently enough that you're going to want to run 6. If you think about it this way, you can have 4 ofs in this game out of 50 cards, which is a lot of consistency. If you have 4 of a card, you're definitely going to see it every game. It'd be very unlikely that you wouldn't. If you have 3 ofs, you're probably going to see 2 of them. If you have 2 of something, you can be fairly confident you're going to see 1 of them. And then if you only have 1 of a card, you know, you may or may not see it. I would say 3 and above, as far as the number of a card in your deck, is going to pretty much guarantee you're going to see 2 copies of it in a given game. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the sort of philosophy of playing the game, right? Where when you're in the middle of the game, what are you going to do? So the first thing I think that it's important to note, the big takeaway I got from some of my early games, is don't hold out to play pilots as link units. It's, you know, if you can maybe set it up a turn in advance, maybe 2 turns maximum, great, right? But don't just sit with that pilot in your hand when you could be putting it on any mobile suit and giving it the stat buff. Never underestimate the stat buff, and never underestimate just the buff that a lot of pilots give you, you know, just by virtue of being played. Like, for instance, if we go to, let's see, if we look at Char Aznable here, this is a great example of a pilot that, there we go, of a pilot that is fine to just play on any mobile suit, right? It says attack during your turn, this unit gets AP +1, right? So it's always going to give you on an attack +2/+1. That's great for a level 3 1-cost unit. And then, you know, if it's a link unit, gets high maneuver, great. If you put on the Zaku 2, wonderful, you know? Or I think there's some Xeon traits. I think like the Gelgoog maybe like lets you use that trait instead. But traits aside, even if it's not a link unit at all, just being able to get +1/+2 to a unit, and then you know, +2/+1 when it's attacking, that's really good. So again, don't be afraid at all to just play pilots out if it gives you the numbers you need at the time, right? If you have a 1/1 unit and you have a pilot that could give it +2 attack, and your opponent has an EX base with 3 HP, play that pilot and take out the EX base in one swing. Just getting more efficient swings oftentimes is going to be way better than waiting 2 or 3 turns just to play a link unit and attack with a mobile suit in the turn it comes into play, right? So don't get tricked into holding out for link units if you don't need to. Try to keep in mind the value that the numbers, the stats on a pilot card gives you in the moment. And that's going to, I think, give you a big edge up, because a lot of people are going to be wanting to do those awesome link units, right? And who could blame them? It's cool and it's fun and it's powerful, but What's more powerful is just simply using the right numbers at the right time. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind the classic card game term, who's the beatdown, right? Who is the person with the initiative in the game? Who is the person putting the pressure on? And this goes back to a little bit about what I told you earlier, which is you want to have as many units out as possible to get as many swings as possible. You know, if you have 5 mobile suits out and they have 2 mobile suits out, well, then, you know, it's much easier for you to send 5 swings at their shields and take out their base, take out a few shields, right? Cause a lot of damage. And then they're obligated, rather than swing back at your life, they're obligated to try to clear your board instead, you know? So generally, I feel like if you have more units out, you're better off attacking into their shields than into their mobile suits. Now, you're going to have to take it case by case, obviously. If there's a unit out there that's going to cause a big problem for you the next turn, then, you know, find a way to remove that, right? But overall, I think the general goal should be to get out more mobile suits than your opponents, to present more attacks than they do, thereby being the beatdown, taking the initiative. Another thing is to think a turn in advance, right? Going back to the pilot cards again, if you have a mobile suit that you can play, remember they come into play, they can't attack, but they are ready. So that means, or active rather, so they can't be attacked by your opponent's unit. So next turn, you can be fairly confident that they'll still be there. And then if you have a pilot that, again, gives you that number to then swing and attack in a very efficient way with, make sure you're thinking about that in advance, right? You know, for instance, if you have the choice of a 3-4 or a 4-3 in your hand, and you also have a pilot that gives +1/+1, and they have a 5 health shield out, it's better to play that 4-3 out, and then the next turn play the 1-1 on top of it, and then be able to hit the shield for the full 5 damage and take it out, hit the base rather for the full 5 damage and take it out, than it is to play the 3-4 because it's more durable in the moment, right? I think in the beta environment, it's pretty safe to assume that your mobile suits are going to stick around if they're not rested. You know, if they're rested, then sure, they can be attacked. But if they're not rested, then, you know, unless you're playing against an opponent with a lot of white and they bounce it, then, you know, I think you can be pretty confident you'll be able to put a pilot on it next turn. They're generally pretty safe in my experience. Again, there's a bell curve, but that's, I think, something you can kind of count on. Managing bases. Let's take a look at the bases here. All the bases have 5 HP except for side 7, which is, you know, it's okay. It lets you heal, so that's kind of nice, but at the sacrifice of 1 HP, I'm not a big fan of it. It is a level 1 base, so that is the only base you can play on the very first turn of the game, so that's okay. And so then the question comes up that I hear a lot: should you replace your EX base with a real base card? You know, because you can just play one base over top of another one and the previous one is destroyed. And the answer is, I think, generally you are okay playing a regular base with 5 HP and just taking out your own EX base. I think it gives you a lot of... It accelerates your game plan a little bit, because not only are you playing that base, you're giving yourself that base ability. So, for instance, if we look at white base, you're giving yourself the chance to maybe put another unit on the field. And then you also get the side benefit with every base that's played, that you add one of your shields to your hand. So again, you get to draw a card, essentially. You get to draw an extra card that turn. Sure, it's out of your shields, but again, you're replacing a 1 HP shield with a 5 HP shield. So you're still doing better than you were before. So I would say if you don't have any mobile suits to play and you've got bases in your hand, don't be afraid at all to play a real base card over top of your EX base. Just ditch that thing. It's just 3 HP. It doesn't do anything for you. Don't be afraid to play over top of it. As far as bases go, the ones you're going to really want to look for in these colors, in green, absolutely Falmel's the MVP here. Being able to play a 3-1 out, just a free 3-1 from playing the base is great. Sure, it comes into play rested, but it's, you know, at the very least, it's going to soak an opponent's attack, right? So I think that's great. You can almost think of it as this has a 5 HP plus another attack that's going to have to go into another unit instead. You know, it's a very good base. Another really good base I like is white base, just because you can play it, again, you know, not necessarily free units, you still have to pay for them, but if you're running a little bit low on cards in hand, this is a good way to get some more bodies on the board, which is, again, the number of Gundams you have out there, the number of mobile suits, I should say, the more attacks you can present, the better shape you're going to be in. So I think these two, personally, are my favorite. The other ones are more circumstantial. I think this one, to give link units AP +1, is nice, but then again, it's very dependent on if your deck has link units or not. So might be okay, might not be okay. Looking at a St. Gabriel Institute, Look at the top two, put one on the top, one on the bottom. So a little bit of filtering with your deck, but again, not the strongest ability. It's okay. And then this one, setting a blocker is active again. Conditional once more that you have to have a lot of blockers out. If you do, great. If not, it's not super useful. And then the heal as well. The best plays are going to be made where you take out a mobile suit without any chance for the opponent to respond. So you don't get a ton of chances to heal in this game, really. So I don't think this one is as important either. So the two bases you should absolutely be looking for are Fall Mail and White base. By no coincidence, a green base and a blue base. Like I said, green blue is the best color here. Okay, so let's talk about some packages here. So what are the card combinations you're going to want to look for in your beta kits? I think the easy one right off the bat to think about is the white base package, which is having things like the G Fighter, if you see a lot of those. And what else do we got? I wish you could sort by trait here. I don't think you can, though. Yeah, you can't sort by trait. But basically, there's a good amount of cards that require white base. For instance, here's one. The gun cannon. The gun tank, sadly, does not have a link unit, but there's two right off the bat. But the reason why the white base package is good, because you have a lot of pilots that can work with it. Amuro can work with it. He's white base. He's also, Gundam specific too. Gundam RX-78 to specific leader. But then you also have these two command pilot combo cards. You have Thoroughly Damaged or Hayato Kobayashi, and then you have Kai's Resolve or Kai Shiden. Just basic +1 attack or +1 defense pilots. But again, the numbers really matter. So being able to do this, and then also thinking about being able to play link units as well. So these two also give you the ability to attack right away with like the gun cannon or the G Fighter. And I feel like there might be another one or two I'm forgetting here. Maybe not. But either way, I think the white base package is one of the packages that has the most opportunity to play things that have a wide variety of pilots you can link with it. So looking for those, I think, is good. Otherwise, another package I guess you could look at in blue is just simply having a lot of cheap stuff, like being able to play a ball on turn one, then playing like not Gundam Maform, but like a Jim, right? 2/2. Getting to play again like a gun tank, which just has a great deploy as well. Because remember, blue has a lot of things that rest units, so you can rest something and then do a damage to it. Or you can finish off a unit that attacked that they might not be expecting to lose. So cheap stuff. Blue cheap stuff is another good package here to keep in mind. The other one to maybe look for is if you get a good amount of Gundam Unicorn. I think it's strong, right? It's high level, it's high cost, but Bandager Lynx is a great pilot to add with it. So yeah, you could. I mean, he's level 5. He's one of those pilots where he doesn't pair with any of the white base stuff, so there's less stuff you can really attach him to, but he does give +2/+2. He's level 5, so it takes a while to get there. So I would say unless you really have a lot of unicorns and a couple Bandagers rather, don't worry about that too much, especially because if you look at these Earth Federation mobile suits, they don't have link traits, so that makes it a little bit awkward. So I think for the most part, you can ignore the unicorn stuff, and you can just kind of focus on white base and blue, and that's going to be the stronger of the two sort of sides of things. Show of Resolve, I talked about this in my blue video. I think if you need a couple command cards, it's fine to put it in there. Otherwise, I think this is I think you put it in for the beta event, but you might not use it much outside of that. I think it's okay. All right, looking at white packages real quick here. Let's do that. So again, these are combinations of cards that if you see them, then you're going to probably want to play them. I think for white, the easy one is the Academy trait. You've got a good amount of mobile suits that use that. So here we have the Darabald Academy trait. We have the Michaelis Academy trait. And I feel like, is there one more maybe? Maybe there's just two. Let's see. Yeah, there's just two there. But again, this is another one where we have a decent amount of pilots for that, right? We've got Soletta Mercury, who can go on the aerial, but also is Academy. So that can be a link unit. We also have Yul Jeturk, which is another Academy one. So if you have those Academy link units and then the Academy pilots, that's a package to think about. And then, I would say then that lets you play Aerial and Soletta Mercury as well. if you have those. The other side of white is the Gundam Seed side of things. So with that, you've got the Earth Alliance for Mulaflaga. I don't think that you've got, Launcher Strike, sure, but this is it is an uncommon. Okay, I thought that was a rare, but I only got one of them in my package. That's kind of weird. But I think in general, you're going to find more success with the Witch from Mercury package. I think the Seed package, you just run these for blockers, right? If you're going to run white, there's just some good bodies to put in there. There's an Earth Alliance trait one, right? But, blocking is okay in this game. I think, again, it's better to just be aggressive. The one white card that I really think is a big standout here is Overflowing Affection. Getting to draw 2, discard 1 for level 2 1 costs, that can really fix your hand when you need it. And in a sealed deck format, that's something that's important. The other command card that I think works pretty well here too is being able to give a unit with blocker plus AP 3 during this turn as an action. So this is something you do after your opponent declares an attack, right? So if you have a bunch of blockers and you have a good amount of, say 2 or 3 of these, then that can be a powerful package to kind of, surprise your opponent. Again, going back to the Seed stuff, watch out for the M1 Astray. It's nice to put in as a cheap card, but at the same time, if you have another Triple Ship Alliance unit in play, this unit gets +1 AP and blocker. Sounds great, but it's very easy for your opponent to derail, and then it just becomes a vanilla 2/2 again that does nothing. Again, I think white isn't the strongest color. If you get a lot of demi trainers, if you get like 3 demi trainers, that's maybe a reason to think about running white, because just having the ability to throw out chump blockers at any time in the game is strong. So that's another reason to maybe look at white. But it's okay. The one big combo I like with white on the aggressive side of things is if you have the Gundam Aerial. This is the rare version of it, right? So 3/3 Soletta Mercury link unit. You have Soletta Mercury in your hand as well, so you have that link unit, gives it +1/+2, and then you have the Astakasia School of Technology base on your board, because this says rest of space. All friendly link units get AP +1 this turn. So if you notice, 1 + 1 + 3, that's 5, and so that combo gives you enough to take out a 5 HP base in one shot, which is always a number you want to look for. 5 is a great number to hit in this game. Finally, green. I guess this is a little bit of a preview of my green color breakdown that I'll do early next week. I should have done it. I should have just done 2 this week, but either way, I'll give you a couple things to look for in green that if you see these pop up in your beta kits, you'll want to consider running green as a color then. The one easy one is if you have a good amount of Char Zaku 2 and Char Osnable, you'll want to run those because it's a strong combination. You get 3 power right here. It's a little bit of a weaker mech, but it is cheaper. But if you attach Char to it, suddenly you're going crazy, right? Because it gets AP +1 as a link unit to begin with, so now you're up to that 5 attack number again that we talked about. And because it's a link unit, it gains high maneuver, which means it can just avoid blockers. So Char and Zaku 2, if you can get that going, great. That's an awesome combo. That said, I think the other stuff is a little bit more on the wing side of things, where it gets a little bit better. Char can also match with some of the Xeon mechs, like where is it? Xeon mobile suits. Maybe it can't. Maybe it can't actually. Yeah, it's only the Gelgoog actually that has the Xeon link trait. So yeah, as far as link units go, Xeon is a little bit light on this side. And if you're in green, I think things are going to be a little bit better on the Gundam Wing Bros side of things, right? Right off the bat, let's take a look at the Legend Rare. This is the nice alt art, but it says Breach 5. First of all, Breach is really good. Lets you hit their shields when you're attacking their units. And then the big thing is this is the only unit we have access to in the beta set, at least, that lets you attack an active enemy unit. And it's level 4 or below, but still, that's most of the mobile suits in the game. So this lets you have kind of a surprise attack against an opponent that might not be expecting it, because normally you can't attack active units. But yeah, let's take a look more at the wing stuff. So the big wing cards you want to look for is Chang Wufei. I think is first and foremost. He's super good. +2/+1 is great stats. Level 4 makes him very playable. And then during your turn, if this unit has Breach, So if the mobile suit that he's attached to has breach, it can't receive battle damage from enemy units with 3 or less AP. So this lets you really put the breach mechanic to good use, right? Where you can attack into things and theoretically, not take as much damage, make him last a little bit longer. Because if we look at, well, his Gundam, the Shenlong Gundam, it has breach 3 by nature, which is great. You look at heavy arms during pair, it gets breach 3. Wing Gundam, breach 5, right? So a lot of the Gundam wing stuff has breach, and then you even see it in some of the Xeon stuff. So if you're running the wing pilots or like Chang Wufei, you can run the Rikdom as well, even though that's not a Gundam wing franchise card. The fact that it has breach, and it's a 3/3 for 2 at level 3, just makes it a really good card to run in that. So again, like breach mobile suits and Chang Wufei is something to definitely look at as a combo to run. The other stuff, there's a combo that I think you should probably avoid, and that combo is going to be Gundam Sandrock and its deployability. You may deploy 1 Maganac unit card from your hand. It level 5 costs 3. Sure, it's a 4/4, but it's kind of level prohibitive to play, at a decent time. And this is the only Maganac core card that you're going to see in the beta kit. So unless you get a ton of these and a ton of these, you can probably drop both of these from the green package in your deck. You probably don't want to run it. Looking at some of the other pilots, I think Tro is okay. It lets you give a unit breach, which is nice, as a command card. So remember, this isn't playing it as a pilot. This is playing it as a command card. So you can use it as a command card to give something breach that doesn't have it, then play Chang Wufei on that mobile suit, and then you can take advantage of that for a turn at least. Otherwise, it's just a 1/1, so I don't think it's that great. Hero Yui I like because this unit gains +1 AP and +1 HP while linked. So, that's going to be bringing this up to 3/2 as a stat buff for the pilot, which is awesome. You might be like, oh, well, it's only the Wing Gundam. But yeah, you've got the Legend Rare, but you've also got Bird Mode. You've got the regular Wing Gundam, which is on the second page here. There you go. Another Hero Yui. So there's a pretty good chance that you're going to have a fair number of mobile suits that pair with heroes. So I would say if you have a couple heroes and you have a couple Wing Gundam variations, that's a really nice little combo to run. One combo in particular that's really, really good is the Wing Gundam Bird Mode, right? So what you can do is you can play for 3. Say you have 3 resources, right? You play the Wing Gundam Bird Mode, pay 3 resources for that. When you play it, you place an EX resource. So that's one of your temporary resources that you get access to. Now, it doesn't say play it rested or anything like that. So you get to use this right away. And what can you use it for? Well, now because you have an EX resource, that brings you up to level 4. And guess who's level 4? Hero Yui. So now you can pay 1 with that 1 resource to play Hero Yui on the Bird Mode Gundam. Because it's a link unit, you get to attack right away with it. And it also gives it +3 in stats, right? Because as a link unit, he gives you 3/2 instead of 2/1. So at resource turn 3, you can be attacking with a 5 attack mobile suit. And again, 5 is a magic number because that kills any base in 1 shot. So watch for the possibility of being able to play the Wing Gundam and Hero Yui. That is one of the strongest combos in green for sure. Another one you want to look at in green is, again, Chang Wufei and the Shenlong Gundam, right? Breach 3, and then this has, if it has breach, you can subtract the attack, right? So being able to play that on that, it does 6. So again, you can one-shot a base. That's always nice too. Other things, green is your ramp color. If you get a couple of these, that's fine. If you don't end up drawing a ton of low-cost stuff out of your booster packs, you can use this to sort of catch up because, it's got a burst, get an EX resource. Otherwise, you can just place 1 rested resource. So it helps you ramp a little bit. Sure, that's fine. This is a card I would cut out of my green package pretty quickly if I have a lot of low-cost stuff, though, because, again, you don't want to be drawing into that when you've already got a bunch of stuff on the board. It's just not super useful. So in green, you're generally going to be looking for the Wing Gundam stuff. This one. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about this one. The Peaceful Timber one. Action. During this battle, your shield area can't receive damage from enemy units at a level 4 or below. Great way to stuff some of those lower level attacks. So this is a good command card to just throw in for green. And then the other card from green that I think is kind of auto-include is Fall Mill. It's a great base. Lets you get a 3/1 for free. That's solid. So yeah, that's kind of a breakdown of some of the little card combos that you're going to want to look for when you're opening your booster packs in white, green, and blue. Remember, red's not going to be a part of this. But the biggest thing to remember, I think, more than anything, I'll say it again, is don't be afraid to play pilots for just the stats. The numbers will beat everything else in this game, right? So if you can get to a number to really trade efficiently with one of your opponent's mobile suits, or you can get to the magic number you need to one-shot their base with a single attack, that's what you want to go for more than anything, more important than saving, a link unit for like a couple turns and being like, well, I've got Hero in my hand and I really hope I draw the Wing Gundam. Just like if Hero gives you the numbers you need right now, just play him, Don't wait. Play your pilots. They're there to be attached to the mobile suits. That's the biggest trap you can fall into in this game early on, is not playing your pilots out when you need the numbers more than you need the link unit in 2 or 3 turns, right? So I think that alone, if you follow that philosophy, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Finally, the question of going first or going second. In general, in the beta environment at least, I think it is almost universally better every single time to go second. The main reason is that you get to a higher level quicker. Now, getting that EX resource, I wouldn't say you should ever use it to play something on your first turn, unless you really, really feel like you need to. You want to save that EX resource to get out like a level 4, a level 5, 1 turn higher than your opponent. That can make a big difference in terms of just getting that tempo and putting something extra big on the board. So just getting to that higher level quicker than your opponent is good enough that I would say go second every single game. I think there's just, in the beta environment at least, there's just not really much of a question between first and second. I say just go second. So anyway, that's about it. Nice short video here. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea about what to go for when you're playing in your beta event this weekend. Go out, have some fun, build a lot of decks. Like, subscribe. Tell me in the comments below what you ended up building and how it ended up working out at your event. Otherwise, if you think I'm totally off on some stuff, definitely tell me too. I'm always down for some conversation. But until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.